Believing in oneself is a magic. If you can do that, you can make anything happen. Well, I think that students in 2017 have little to no magic at all, mainly because they are too afraid of what others will think. We are greatly influenced by society, media, and most of all, our peers. A real woman does not have to throw dirt on other women just to feel more secure and better about herself.
We're so put down by what others will think that we agree to change who we are and act fake just so we can fit in. Walking through the halls at school, you hear all sorts of mean names being called out by friends. Many girls already have body image issues because of social media. So why do we need to further push each other down? Why can't we pick each other up? Personally, I've always felt like no words needed to be said out loud, but I just knew that it was the main topic of the most popular girl group behind me. School isn't exactly the easiest place to be, especially when there's a group of girls making me feel insecure. They're all wearing the same clothes and shoes. I can't always afford the newest weekly trends, and some of my friends can't either. School would be so much easier if half of my brain wasn't trying to block out all the shade thrown at me because of the shade of my shoes, and the other half was being insecure because I didn't have those things. But in the end, why can't we all be unique and wear whatever we want?
Beauty isn't about having a pretty face. It's about having a pretty mind, a pretty heart, and a pretty soul. Girls shouldn't have to wake up super early just to meet people's standards. We should be able to wake up whenever we want and dress however we like, and not be judged for it. Instead of sheepishly walking to school or through the halls, we should all have our heads held up high and be confident in who we are inside and out. We are lucky to be someone's daughter, sister, or friend, and that we have someone out there who cares about us. Sticking together is the first step towards this mission. When you see a girl sitting alone at lunch, go up to her and say hi. Maybe you'll click instantly and become best friends, or maybe you won't. But at least you didn't miss the chance. When you see a girl that isn't wearing the latest fashion trends, don't gossip about her behind her back. Behind every face, there's a story. And maybe if you got to know her, you would learn her story.
So the next time us girls walk into a classroom, let's show off our pure and beautiful smiles to brighten up the room and encourage all the other girls to do the same. From tomorrow, let's start with a new mindset, a new pattern of thoughts, a new wave of connection to the world, and a new belief system in ourselves. Let's break this invisible glass between us all and make the most of our teenage years.
Four summers ago, I remember sitting outside on our balcony after breaking my fast on the last Ramadan night before Eid. I had just put down the phone after making a call to my grandparents, who at that moment were already preparing for celebrations. All my aunts and uncles would make it to my grandpa's house, and they would spend the day together. I could hear the chaos of the children running about as they chased each other, all while I listened to my uncles complain about filling the house with coffee and sweets just in time for the guests to arrive. I remember thinking, that was so beautiful, mashallah. I had recently been thinking a lot about this, how, as much as it has been a privilege to grow up in the West, it meant that me and my family had compromised the chance to grow old with our relatives. I felt this especially growing up in a neighborhood that lacked a sense of diversity. I was the only Arab Muslim girl in my senior class. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a blessing to come from a small knit family. We really trusted each other. When it was good, it was really good. And when we fell together. But there were some nights, especially during Eid or Ramadan, that I felt like I missed my family. But how could I miss them if I had never really known them? That year, we decided to take a trip to Jordan during my spring break. And I remember that I promised myself I would take advantage of every moment. I wanted to build a relationship with my grandmother. I remember that I wrote down all the things that I wanted to ask her. And on that trip, I did just that. We lived every moment. Every morning I sat with her and we talked from politics to her youth. She even casually noted to me how her and my grandpa had lived an epic love story of separation and reunion after she fled her village in Nablus, Palestine at the age of 16. That visit was everything that I wanted. Bonds were sewed where they were meant to be, and when it was time to leave, I cried the whole plane ride back. And then, 4 weeks after I arrived back home, we got a phone call. My grandma had passed away suddenly. The reality of that permanent loss became apparent to me. I will not grow up with my family, and I can't go back in time to redo those years of separation. And so the feelings of isolation continued. My heart was in the east, and my physical body was in the west. Not long after I came back, I found some words I scribbled on a piece of paper while I was there that read, "Back home, I'm a tourist in my own streets. And at home, I'm an immigrant, overcoming the feat called the American dream." I realized that deep down, I knew the answer all along. I am who I am for a reason. I am here for a reason, and I know that I can do good with it. In my front lawn, there's a jasmine vine that intertwines with its friend, the maple tree, with a beautiful embrace between two countries. A reminder to me that I can utilize the privilege of my education and the experience with diversity to help address the issues that separated our families in the first place. In the words of Khalil Gibran, the universe is my country and the human family is my tribe.
Some of them men think they freak this like we do, but no they don't. Make your check come at the neck. Disrespect us, no they won't. Boy, don't even try to touch this. Boy, this beat is crazy. This is how they made me. Houston, Texas, baby. This goes out to all.
Living in a first world country with a progressive family made up of 75% women, I think obvious sexism doesn't exist like we see in the media. But when I have a closer look at what I hear every day and see the internalized sexism I have come to ignore because I have normalized it so much, my experiences with sexism are such small events that they may seem like nothing, but in actuality, it is a way to see how the world treats me different just based on my sex. Ways sexism affects me in small ways is where I don't even notice it as being sexist. Like at school, when I'm answering a question and getting cut off by a male classmate and not bothering to try and start answering again. It is a small thing that happens, and it is not the boy's fault that it happens. It's what we're conditioned to do. He doesn't mean to be rude by interrupting me, but cutting off women talking is just so normal, it doesn't even seem wrong. You don't think you should call them out on it because of the patriarchal standards that women should not interrupt and listen, even if the male interrupted them. But this belief is so deep-rooted in us, we don't even realize it happens. And it is a big deal because it silences us from speaking our mind. But why do we let this happen? And why does it keep happening? It is because we are too comfortable to change it. We are comfortable with staying silent so we can have something mansplained to us. It's because we don't want men to see us as rude or obnoxious, because we hold men's opinions of us so much higher than opinions of ourselves. With internalized sexism, it seems so prominent we forget it's there. I know that sounds crazy and confusing, but here's an example of what I mean. When I go to the washroom, I always ask a friend to come with me. And usually a whole group of girls will go. But only just a few months ago did I realize that we don't do it just for the company or to do our makeup. It is something we were taught generation by generation that big groups avoid people from attacking us girls. This thing of going to the bathroom in a group has been made fun of a million times, whether in TV or in internet virals. But once we learn the true reason of why I always ask my friends to come to the washroom with me, we see it as more of a serious reason than just talking with them, like I said, or doing our makeup. These seem like harmless jokes. Even I make jokes like these. But these jokes support a system of attacking women without even knowing it. Internalized sexism is also how we act, how we feel it is our job as women to do this, the serving, the cooking, and the cleaning. It's nobody's fault that we do this. But when guests come over, me and all the rest of us women will get up and go in the kitchen. It is now just a natural habit for us because of the deep-rooted belief that women are supposed to be in the kitchen. The belief that started many years before. It isn't the men of now's fault that it happens. It is the patriarchal values that were set in, as I said before, many years ago. I know some of my examples seem like small issues, and it seems like I'm whining, but these things have such a big impact on us without even noticing, like not using our voice by being cut off. A way we can make a small change with this is by not letting our voices being silenced and instead saying, "Excuse me, I wasn't finished." It's a small thing that it seems like a small thing to change, but once people will start to realize, "Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt." And as for the rest, we can raise the new generation with respect and equality for all genders, where this internalized sexism won't even exist in the next 20 years.
Hi, my name is Hannah Poulton, and I'm here interviewing Muslims. Here's one now. Hi, do you speak Muslim? Is your name Aladdin? Do you eat only halal meat?
Is my mom gonna see this?
My friend was sitting there. Are you oppressed? What? Are you bald under there? No. Do you have ears? Who are you? Hannah, what are you doing? Oh, I'm interviewing Muslims. Hannah, I'm Muslim. Well, what do you do in your spare time? I hang out with you. Oh. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, you don't even fit the profile of a Muslim. You're wearing jeans. You drive a car. You have blue hair. You have a job. Where's your headscarf, by the way? Is it at the dry cleaners?
If I had a nickel for each time a person looked confused or didn't believe me when I said that I am Muslim, well, I would have a whole lot of nickels. This really made me dig a little deeper to find out, who am I? Of course, I got sidetracked and ended up getting hungry, but a girl's gotta eat. I eventually began to write down what makes me, me. I'm addicted to the gym. I love yoga. I love rapping as if I am the female version of Eminem. I love burning rotis while trying to help my mom cook. I love talking to my dad about philosophies on whether the inside of the earth is hollow or not, or if that really was a UFO we saw last month. After reflecting on each aspect of my life, I finally came to a conclusion. Allah has blessed me with so many privileges and opportunities. Being Muslim does not only mean praying 5 times a day and fasting for all 30 days during Ramadan. There is so much more to it, and every aspect is beautiful. If I miss a prayer, is that supposed to mean that I am no longer a Muslim? No. If I accidentally eat something while fasting, will I be thrown out of the masjid? No. If I don't wear a hijab, does that make me any less of a Muslim? No. Islam is something that is in your heart. It's about where your deen is. Just because we present ourselves in a different way does not make us any less. Being Muslim is my identity and everything I aspire to be. In my eyes, being Muslim is about being a good person. At the end of the day, if anyone were to ask me who I am or what I do, my answer will always remain the same. I am Muslim.
سلمى يا سلامة رحنا وجينا بالسلامة.
When people ask me about my story, I don't know what to say. What story should I tell them? I have many. Sometimes I feel like my story is the story of many people, all mashed up together. But today, I'm going to tell you one. The story of the lifeline of all my other stories. This is Selma, a strong, feisty woman, and my mom.
واشيل واحط وهاي من اشوف نبته لطيفه وحلوه نروح لاي مكان اريد اخذها وياي، وحتى يعني اي زرع عندي ما يعني صدق يعني انقهر من اتركه وراي من اسافر، واحنا تنقلنا بعده مكانات. فاحنا طالعين وياي الولد ديما وعبودي زين كل واحد جايب زرعه، ونزلوا من الطياره شايلين كل واحد زرعه، يعني فشي عزيز عليه ما اريد اتركه، ما احب اتركه.
She held the family together through so many ups and downs. She was always the one who, whatever life threw at her and our family, stayed determined to be the one who writes the endings and makes them good, happy endings. She gave birth to me in 1974 in Lebanon. I was few months old when the Lebanese civil war started. And a few years later, we found ourselves back in Iraq, where my dad became a political prisoner and was tortured for 3 years, or 1,000 days, as he puts it. She was only 36 years old then, with 4 little kids. I was 5, and my little brother was 2 years old.
بديع طبعا احنا اي شاي اخر ما مخدر طبعا ما نتونس بيه. ريحة الهيل بالخشب. المنطقة اللي احنا ساكنين بيها بعيدة عن المنطقة اللي بدنا نبني بيها البيت. طبعا أنا كنت موظفة أشتغل فآخذ الأولاد وياي بالسيارة أحطهم وآخذهم من المنطقة هاي للبيت وأنزل طبعا بالكراكيب بالإحجار وبالمدري شنو ويا العمال وهذا صح وهذا غلط وهذا مدري إيش وهذا يعني إلى أن يعني أحاول أشياء الغلط أشرف عليها والأشياء الصح يعني أحاول الأشياء أرتب كل شيء يكون صح بالبناء لأنه وحدي وماكو أحد وياي فما أريد يطلع شيء غلط.
My dad came back with lots of physical and emotional scars. She took care of that and never stopped working or providing for the family. At age 42, she gave birth to my youngest brother, Abdullah. It was a refreshing addition to the family. A baby who hadn't witnessed the hardship. Little did we know, it was not the end of it.
طلعنا إنه مفكرين إنه يعني كم سنة ونرجع، فصارت الظروف إنه يعني مو ما نرجع، ما نقدر نرجع. نطلع الأشياء اللي يعني نقدر نديم حياتنا، وفعلا هي هاي اللي دامت حياتنا برا طالعين أي شيء تطلعين أي طبعا. فبالنسبة لي عندي جرأة أقدر أتصرف بهيجي مواضيع، بس بنفس الوقت يعني أخاف مثلا ولدي أخاف أحملهم، بس مرات أنت من صايرة بموقف يعني موقف صعب وتعرفين إنه ما عندك غير هذا الحل، تضطرين يعني تجازفين. فكنت يعني بعض الأشياء مثلا ذهبي مثلا يعني أنا أشيله ولا هو مو هواية يعني فشي، بس يعني ممكن يمشينا فترة. طبعا ذا الأطفال كانوا يخافون وأنا هم أخاف عليهم، بس بنفس الوقت يعني أشجعهم إنه يعني ما عندنا غير حل، لازم تكون جريء، لازم كذا، لازم. فدائما يعني هيجي مواقف تحتاج جرأة وتحتاج تصميم شيء مالتي وأريد أعيش بيه وأعيش ولدي وهاي بالوقت اللي أنا ما يمنعوني أطلعها، فأضطر أصير جريئة حتى أقدر أخلص الشيء اللي أريده.
The Japanese believe that cracks and scars in a plate makes it more valuable. So they fill it with gold and light. 3 more wars, 5 countries later, my mom is still the glue that keeps our family together. She's still determined to write the endings and fill the scars with gold and light.
سلمى يا سلامة رحنا